Well, greetings, everyone. This is June Gothberg, aka Wilogate, and I am one of the artists and collectors on Starbeam.one. This will be our second interview with artists today. As an artist, I was just really interested in other artists' journeys, especially going from making art to actually selling it online. And so I will be doing this series of interviews to better understand. And today I'm excited to have with us Z, and he goes by King0light on both Starbeam.one and on Twitter. And he is one of the founding artists that was on Starbeam.one from the beginning, so long before I joined. So I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to learning more from Z. And so welcome, Z. The
Thank you.
first thing I want to ask you, and it's on the slides,
hmm
is I kind of stalked you. So I saw you on Starbeam.one, and then I went to your link tree, and then I saw your Instagram and your Twitter. All of them have this quote: the brightest colors shine in the darkest places. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I drew inspiration from one of my favorite authors. His name is Ted Decker,
Okay.
and he is a Christian fiction author.
Mhm.
And so a lot of his books, they go dark, uh,
Mhm.
and but then they bring out hope and uh, the light and the goodness out of everything. So, and his what he says is, that the darker the room is, the brighter the light shines. So, and I just love the contrast of like the good and the evil, the you know, depression and joy, the the conflicting emotions that brings contrast. And I think there's a beauty, taking from the ashes and making something beautiful. I
That
think it speaks to me a lot.
and I do, as a collector of your art, because I've collected some of your
Mhm.
art, I do think that shines through in your artwork. I definitely see pieces that are a little more dark, and then I see pieces that are bringing that light into that darkness. So
Mhm.
that is really cool. And I have read maybe not everything by Ted Decker, but I've read quite a few.
Oh yeah.
So and so I like him too. Um, where do you kind of talked about that, but where are some other places that you find inspiration?
Um, I would say, you know, it was this whole journey's been kind of interesting, because before, I wasn't really much into art. I could draw like a pencil. I was pretty good, and I did a little bit of digital art. But then whenever AI art was released, um,
Mhm.
I started messing around with it back in September of last year,
Okay.
and what that did is it brought to life so much creativity that was I felt was locked away. And so from each idea kind of inspired the next. And so it was more like, oh, what if I mix this with this? What if I do this with this? And I was hooked. And it was from there I kind of developed my taste. And I say it feels more like I unlocked what was already within me, that I discovered things about myself and what really speaks to me in this whole journey in these few months.
That- That's pretty inspirational. And especially, I feel like we have the AI wars kind of going on.
hmm
And I I think what you just said is really important about having that creative side, but it's locked inside you. And you are able to bring that out. That is really cool. So when you think about that, Z,
Yeah,
what do you feel is the purpose of your work?
yeah. I feel the purpose uh, is more than just making something that looks cool. It's something, I hope that it speaks to people, and that and especially people who are going through difficult times, that that the bright colors and the contrasts, it speaks to them, that, there's always hope. There's always, an end, to struggles and to hard times. And um, yeah, I think that's what I hope they do anyway, at least to one person, and it's worth it.
So it sounds like you're a little newer to the AI art, but when you think
Mhm.
about your journey as an artist over time, how has your style changed?
Um, Quite a lot. Uh, I mean, I went from just doing like pencil drawings. They were still kind of on the darker side a lot of times. I drew a lot of dragons. I love dragons. I had even drawn a dragon on my wall, and that thing was like, had like 2 feet, 2 foot wide, and it went across like a 10-foot wall. I did that all in pencil. That was fun. I don't have a picture of it anymore, but
Oh,
but that was a while ago. That was a while ago. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm more of an idea person. I'm like, what about this idea? What about this idea? Even in my work, I use I'm in a position where I can implement a lot of things, and
right.
I found in the last 2 years, like, that's my calling, like, to implement things and ideas, and AI just kind of speaks to that too. Being able to bring things to light, bring ideas to life. That I have a young family, if you don't know.
No,
So
no,
most of my free time is eaten up. I have a 5-month-old and a 3-year-old. So
Ooh, that takes
yeah,
a lot of time.
it does.
So I don't want to assume you have creative blocks, but most of us artists do have some, and writers and poets and creatives in
Oh
general
yes, yeah.
get some blocks. Do you have some ways to overcome your creative blocks?
Um, yeah. I definitely struggle with that, and I've even done some writing too, and been blocked there as well. Um, but I find that it's more about just sitting down and, like, all right, we're gonna do something. I'm just gonna start writing the first thing that comes to mind. I'm just gonna start drawing the first thing, and you just start not even thinking about what you were working on, or what you were doing, but just start putting action to that. And and then as you go, and as you're in the middle of that, you'll be like, oh wait, I could do this, or I could, have, or something inspires you, or you see something. And also just taking some breaks is also necessary from time to time. um I had to step away a little bit from creating art, for financial reasons, and also just, I had made so much that I'm like, okay, I want to go through, and I really want to dig through the things I've created, and upscale them and edit them, and you know make them not just a bunch of abandoned pieces.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So you said you have a young family and you
Hmm.
have littles, and so where do you find the time and what is your favorite time to create?
Yeah. So Midjourney made it really easy, because I could just do it from my phone. I could send a prompt, and then
Mhm.
the kid starts crying, and then, or something, I have to get up and go. Um, so the time to create was just, uh in the evenings. I feel like it's kind of my slot where I can kind of focus on it, a little more, in creating, and now on my computer editing. Yeah, anytime I can get, really, from from kids, if they'll let me,
Great.
and my wife. Yeah.
So I'm going to shift a little bit to
Sure.
Starbeam.one
Hmm.
because, we're here talking to artists from Starbeam.one, and you are one of the early and what I would term founding artist members. How did that happen? How did you become an
Sure.
artist on Starbeam.one?
Yeah, actually, so it had, yeah, in I'm probably gonna pronounce his name wrong, but Aerotim
Okay.
Art. He was a YouTuber who was doing stuff on Midjourney, and then I got into his Discord channel, which is where Mike was. He was in the Discord channel, and he was doing a Starbeam shill in that channel. So then I hit him up, and I got into Starbeam Discord, and he explained to me how everything worked, and I really liked the platform and the idea of Starbeam. Just it really appealed to me, and I tried to get others to join, but I don't know. I think a lot of people are hesitant of startups, of
Mhm.
investing in
Mhm.
startups. But I was right there with them, and I know I've been bad at like staying active in these past few months, but that's just because I only have so much bandwidth.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so hopefully as the kids get a little older, I definitely want to keep publishing stuff on Starbeam, uh, and do everything I can.
And I do want to give a shout out of appreciation because this interview was hard to schedule around your family. And so you are taking your work lunch break in your car in
Right.
order to be able to do this interview. So thank you. I really
You're welcome.
appreciate it. Um, so thinking about Starbeam
Hmm.
One, and it sure has probably grown since you joined it.
Yes,
What
absolutely.
what do you like, what do you feel like's the best thing about Starbeam One?
I think the best thing is it's it's accessible because a majority of the world, they're not into crypto, and they're not into like NFTs. I mean, they might be into crypto, but they're definitely not into NFTs when you go a step further. Um, and I know there's a lot of collectors in there, and there's a lot of artists in there, but for my friends and my family, um, it also gives them a chance to easily step into a marketplace and say, "Hey, I want to buy your art." And then I also appreciate the exclusivity, um, of how he has Starbeam set up to where whenever you buy something, you get your own private website, and you have that. It's attached to its own license, much like an NFT, where it's all connected to that license. Uh, so yeah, I do appreciate that, and I think it's a really cool way of kind of bringing Web3 and Web2 together.
Mhm. Mhm. That's a great answer. Some of that I hadn't thought about, but yes, I agree.
Hmm.
Um, so when you think about doing art, and it's a challenge, especially right now with your families and
Hmm.
being small, who supports you? Who supports your art?
Yeah, I would say, well, definitely my wife. She's she's all for what I'm doing, what I'm creating, and then I know, um, early on, what kept me going, um, was uh, Bad Bean. She's on Twitter. That's her handle.
Okay.
Um, she actually really liked my art that I was posting on Twitter, and then she brought me in and introduced me to like NFTs and selling on object and getting into places. And I'm still in a group chat with her to this day, and she's been a real big support of me, and I'm appreciative of that always. So,
And
um,
I'm gonna look her
yeah.
up now. I don't know her, so
Oh yeah, no, she's really cool. She's really cool. Right now, so I'm also a part of the AAC, the Active Art Collective, which is
okay.
a group on Twitter. Um, it's mostly AI guys. but yeah, it's with focus of selling like NFTs and art. So it's like a group that we kind of help
Hmm,
each other promote each other's stuff and also just hang out.
that sounds great. I haven't heard of them either, so I'll probably look them up
Yeah,
too.
a lot of great
Okay,
people in there.
so
Hmm.
now I'm gonna get really philosophical with you.
Okay.
Now that we've heard about you, why do you think art is important for society?
Hmm. Well, because it'd be a lot less boring without it. The short answer. Um, no, I think human creativity it's part of what we were designed to do is to create and and to join, in creation and making our own things in our own ways too. That's also the the beautiful thing about it. So I think just being able to create art in way more ways than we've ever been able to create art, it just helps us to further human creativity and and express our individuality and also just speak to others, and help them see in different ways, help them, you can experience things in different ways that you would have never thought of, like, well, I would have never thought to put those two colors together or put this with that. Um, yeah, I think, and art speaks to everyone differently too, and that's also a beautiful thing. Um, yeah, I guess that's that's what I would say.
I'm gonna respond to one of those. You said you use
Yeah,
Midjourney,
yeah.
and you know how they have the different areas where you can post your art.
Oh,
One
yeah.
of one of my favorite is called 2-word prompts, and you're talking
Oh,
about putting two things
yeah.
together.
Uh-huh.
I'm not on there like daily, but every once in a while I'll
Sure.
go troll through there, and it's so interesting to see, especially the dichotomies that are put together
Oh, uh-huh.
and what comes
I
out.
could imagine.
So,
Uh-huh.
um, so I like that you said that because it kind of speaks to my odd side there, where I like to look at things like that.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah, and another thing I just challenge myself on too is when I'm making something with AI art or making AI art but using like platform like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion.
mhm.
Uh, I like to push it to the point where when you look at it, you don't automatically think, "Oh, that was made in Midjourney." You know, um, that's kind of my aim. I know some of them do look like they're made from Midjourney, but for a lot of them, I feel like, um, especially the cartoon ones or the um some of the ones you've got up here, I feel like you wouldn't guess it was Midjourney the first time when you saw it. I think so anyway. That's the way.
So one thing I have been experimenting with, and I've only been able to do this on Midjourney, I use other platforms too,
Hmm.
is taking my own art that I have created.
Sure.
Either I've hand drawn it or I've used my tablet and Procreate and I've created it. And then I've used the blend option
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
with something. And that has been kind of a game changer for me, because then I can see the things that I actually, hand drew along with the AI part. So
Sure.
I
No,
don't,
that is really cool. Yeah, I should probably dig up some of my old drawings and do that. That'd be fun.
yeah, yeah. So as we're coming to a close,
Hmm.
I would love to hear, what is your advice for new artists that are looking to sell their art online?
Sure. Yeah. Um, so whenever I first started, you know, everyone preaches that you got to find a niche. You got to find a niche. And I agree with that to an extent because I feel like as an artist, our tastes change, our what we want to do changes. Um, and I find that, yes, if you just want to make a quick buck, you can stick with a niche and just do the same thing over and over, and there's consistency in that. But I don't know, to me that feels a little like, betraying myself. Um, and I, I say find a theme that really speaks to you, and you can see how my stuff goes all over the place, but it has underlying tones. Most of it has underlying tones of with dark
Mhm.
and light contrasts, colors in dark places. And yeah, and don't be afraid to put your stuff out there, and don't undersell yourself. Um, put what you think it's worth, and find the place to sell that works for you and fits your needs. And just keep creating. Even if you don't get any sales, you just keep creating, keep putting content out there, because you never know what the one thing is that's gonna set you off, and then that brings up the value of all your other pieces. So you just got to keep going.
Great, great. Well, Z, I really appreciate you taking your break to be able to talk to me
No, no
today, and I
problem.
hope I
It's
didn't
fine.
make you late.
No, you're
For
good.
our audience, on the slideshow is my Twitter account and Z's Twitter account. So look us up if you'd like to. And also, we'd love to have you come try out Starbeam.one. So if you're interested in Starbeam.one, go to alpha.starbeam.one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.